Welcome to part 2 of Neuroscience and Leadership. I'm Bev Naylor. I'm a doctoral student with Aspen University, and we're still in June 2019. Neuroscience and Leadership. The application of neuroscience to leadership can enhance a leader's performance without jeopardizing employees' motivation, retention, or fiscally. The use of functional MRI provides a picture of what happens inside the leader's brain, which can then be aligned to external behavior. On its own, brain anatomy is far too abstract to be useful. However, when placed in the context of personal or organizational development, neuroscience can provide tremendous insight. Neuroscience is the application of neuroscience to leadership development, management training, change management, education and consulting, and coaching. For example, neuroscience has demonstrated that a performer can experience an emotional reaction in the area of the brain that controls survival when the performer is receiving positive or negative feedback. So what is the benefit of having a positive relationship between employee and leader? Well, according to research, areas of the brain are activated to become open to new ideas, and there is better socialization towards others. Another study has found that there is a connection between effective leadership and agreeable relationships. This was demonstrated through the use of a functional MRI, which showed that when asked to recall specific events with the agreeable leader, 14 regions of the brain were activated. This was in contrast to less than half of those regions being activated when the event was related to a disagreeable leader. This indicates that the positive relationship increases attention, increases compassion, and decreases negative emotions. With a disagreeable leader, the opposite occurs. Attention decreases, compassion decreases, and negative emotions increase. Studies have shown that trust is more than a subjective experience, but rather has a physical connection in the brain. Research has revealed that the brain releases oxytocin, which can make a person more receptive to feel trust towards a stranger. That is, science has shown that the brain can actually determine trustworthiness. Do you ever experience gut feelings? Neuroscience has shown that gut feelings are real and can be applied to leadership development. Gut feelings have a real neurological basis that results in physical changes to the body, like increased heart rate, sweating, blushing, and goosebumps. Rather than suppressing gut feelings, neuroscience is building a case for considering these feelings. In high-risk situations, the gut feelings can be used to slow the leader from making hasty, excessively optimistic decisions. So how can neuroscience be applied in leadership development? Well, first, we can educate leaders about the link between the brain and the importance of building positive relationships with employees. Neuroscience has demonstrated that this can actually open pathways in the employee's brain that encourage engagement and positive working relationships. So pay attention to the relationship building. Second, pay attention to the trust levels. And third, pay attention to gut feelings. In change management, we can see that fear is an issue to contend with. The brain fears change. Change is perceived as a threat. As the brain and body go into response mode to deal with the threat, an explosion of negative emotions are released. Anxiety leads to thinking becoming muddled, and the brain and body resist the perceived threat. Here, the leader needs to try and reduce the stress and anxiety of employees by focusing on the positive aspects of the change, asking questions and listening to the employee. This process enhances the brain's ability to adjust its response to the change and decrease the level of threat perceived till it is non-threatening. To promote creativity and innovation, the leader needs to provide the brain with free time from stressful distractors, such as email, phone calls, and any other distractor that draws one away from performing a task. Anxiety is increased when the brain is unable to function. To help managers use this new neuroscience information, David Rock developed a model that targets the top 5 social rewards and threats. The SCARF model: status, certainty, autonomy, relatedness, and fairness. These either activate a primary reward or a primary threat in the brain. Thus, a perceived sense of certainty being able to predict being able to predict the future, will be seen as a reward. The brain craves this certainty and predictability, and when a change occurs, so there is a change in certainty and predictability, the brain activates the limbic system, putting it in the alert, the fight or flight mode to survive. So the application to work setting. How can I apply neuroscience to my own work setting? Well, through awareness of how the brain functions, I can work at making people feel safer, demonstrating fairness, and finally being genuine, showing trust in others. I can also take care of myself through practices such as positive emotions and mindfulness. Happiness has been scientifically shown to affect what we remember. Pillay states that research also shows that happier people achieve greater success when people are making decisions about them. Thus, as I start my new position and am concerned about social perceptions, knowing that happier women are perceived as being more dominant than sad women will be helpful. How can I apply this to my personal life? Mindfulness is the capacity for self-awareness. Pillay cites Walsh and Francis as stating that there exists within us unexplored, creative capacities, depths of psyche, and states of consciousness undreamed of by most people. Pillay further states that psychological mindfulness involves a non-judgmental acceptance of our thoughts, feelings, and body sensations, and does not analyze them. Research is finding that mindfulness is a powerful state that can significantly reduce anxiety and worry. It also decreases negative thoughts that enter the mind. Further, it provides the opportunity to escape focusing on issues. Research has shown that when we pay attention to pain and challenging tasks, that the pain and challenge become greater than when we don't pay attention. It's like holding a pencil in front of your face. The closer the pencil is to your face, the harder it is to see anything else but that pencil. Thus, that pencil can become a threat. However, when you pull the pencil away, you can start reading the writing on the pencil a little further away, and you can see that the pencil or pen is in perspective to a piece of paper. A bit further, and the pencil or pen becomes the non-threatening tool that it was meant to be. If we focus too much on the pain or on the challenge, the anterior cingulate cortex perceives it as a threat, and the intensity of pain or challenge is greater. So if we remove it, if we change our perspective, and remove it and step back from that challenge, then the anterior cingulate cortex is not in a state of conflict and can free up the brain's resources for thinking and making decisions. Knowing that I can be a stronger performer if I allow my brain some downtime from stress, reducing stressors on the brain will help me to think more clearly and be more productive. Thus, when I finish this video, I'll be heading off to yoga to help reduce anxiety and worry, increasing my clarity of mind and leading to increased productivity.